Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So first off, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my Patreon supporters, Frank Wilson. Thanks for your support. Now in today's video, we're going to show the results of my farming over the last 4 weeks, and usually I do put it out every 2 to 3 weeks. However, of course, things have been relatively busy. We had a couple of, relatively big updates, obviously, with the Battle Simulator. There was also Maze, the first ensemble for Barakai, and so on and so forth. And so I finally got the chance to clip together all these, little videos for your viewing pleasure. Now, if you don't mind, I actually have a sort of different topic to discuss today, and hopefully you'll enjoy what I have to say about that. And today I wanted to actually talk about whether or not my account looks like it's a pay-to-win account. Now, for most of you who have been following this channel since the very beginning, or even more recent viewers to my channel, I'm sure some of you, if not many of you, have wondered whether or not I'm a completely free-to-play account, partially free-to-play, light spender, so on and so forth. And I can assure you that, of course, I am still true to the completely free-to-play at this moment, although, of course, things can change at any time. Now, the reason I bring this up is I had a recent critic call me a pay-to-win player who just uses all the newest units in the game, the most powerful units in the game, and, frankly speaking, didn't really cater to the free-to-play population. And so, my thoughts here is I've always tried to share my viewpoint as a free-to-play, being that since I am free-to-play, we've talked about this before, but stones are very limited, resources are very limited, and so obviously, especially since we don't have the advantage as free-to-plays to have things like Fatefuls or Star Dreams to help kind of correct any sort of summoning mistakes or any misses we had on banners, it's very, very important to manage all those resources, especially things like chants and treatises, in order to kind of get the units we want, and obviously save weeks or months and pass on some banners in order to focus or prioritize other banners. Now again, if you've been following for a long time, you'll know that I've been doing the Should You Summon series, as well as I've had some older videos such as discussing how how to survive as a free-to-play. All those kind of videos are essentially sharing my thoughts and viewpoints about each banner and how I will prioritize them, mostly as a free-to-play, although at times I do touch upon the viewpoint of a light spender or even a whale. And once I consider all these different thoughts in my mind, I realized that for some of you, it does really look like I'm a pay-to-play account, and let me tell you why. If you look at a glance at my most recent account review, I currently have 136 units. Now, I believe there's 148 total units in the game, including the 5 stars, bots, Rainbow Sisters, and so on and so forth. And so, technically speaking, I'm missing 12 5 stars, and of course, some of them do have the AS versions or alternate versions as well. And so, if you look upon it, it's like, wow, Will has Nakoko, Will has Iyasukiya, he has access to AS Mufa. All the newest units Will essentially either has or will have by grinding out treatises and chants. And how is that possible without spending money? Why does Will have so few holes in his account? Seeing that he has most of the meta characters, he even has Melissa. Like, is that even real? And I will say that part of the reason I happen to have most, if not all, of the current meta units is, frankly speaking, there's definitely RNG involved. Like, first of all, I will always give a nod to RNG, being that when anyone summons on a banner, whether or not they're a free person, a Fateful, or anything, you still have to rely on RNG to hopefully land the unit you want. Obviously, for example, if you use a Fateful, you have a 10% flat chance of getting the featured unit on the pull 10, but you can still get it on pulls 1 to 9. If you're like myself as a free-to-play, for example on the Nakoko or Iyasukiya banner, and I use that mostly as my most recent example, you have obviously a 1.2% chance of getting any form of Nakoko, and of course a 0.8% chance of getting Iyasukiya. And obviously I was very, very fortunate to grab both. So that's what I mean by RNG is definitely plays a large part in getting the units that anyone wants, whether or not it's your own account or other people's account. Now the difference is that if you focus your summoning and all your stones on more important banners or more meta type banners, or even tailor your own summoning to what you really require on your team, as opposed to just, for example, the latest DPS or the most shiny new unit or things like that, you will go a long way to stretching out the value of your Chrono Stones. Now the reason for that is twofold. My friend and I actually were discussing this, and keep in mind that as power creep becomes a concern in the game, and really we already see aspects of it. Like if you look at the newest releases in Japan, we got the ES Nagi, we got Pichika, we got Daisy. I mean, all these units, and even more recent units, like for ourselves, we got Nikoko, Garen Barrel, ES Kia. Like the damage those units do over, for example, when we first got normal style Suzette back in week 1 of global, the damage and multipliers and abilities of those units are a huge difference than now. So that's the first thing. And so as you save stones, the value of 1 Chrono Stone or 1,000 Chrono Stones actually magnifies with time. And so just to summarize, for example, if I spent 1,000 stones 2 years ago and I got, say, Xion. Now, we all make fun of Xion. Xion's probably not useful, not meta, so on and so forth. Or same can be said about the original 6, like, the Mighty, the Tuva, all except for my waifu Suzette and potentially Mariel as well. But the other 4, Mighty, Tuva, Lokido, as well as Shinon, most of us make fun of them because, let's be honest, you're not using them on any end game content just because they've been power crept beyond repair in some cases, and unless they get a true manifest, aka Suzette nowadays, that really amplifies its power, they might not become useful again for a very long time. And so, if you had saved those stones from the beginning and were able to kind of grind your way through till now, you could use that 1,000 stones on one of the more recent banners. So you'll pull things like, AS Tsubame, AS Miyufa, even slightly older units such as Iska AS, for example, with Manifest, for example, you have Radika, you have Alulu. Most of those are extremely powerful given that their Manifest came out more recently, and so just by using them, you're doing millions of damage with the right grass to set up, as opposed to, the likes of, say, Lokido, that even if you grassed it up, may not be as powerful or in today's current meta. And so that's what I mean by the more recent stones are even more valuable now than they were before. And so moving forward, you really have to understand that if you spend your stones, now, and let's be honest, we still have to spend our stones because we don't know what the future holds. Future units will eventually get more and more powerful, and so the value of 1,000 Chrono Stones now may not be the same as the value of 1,000 Chrono Stones 6 months from now when you have more refreshed characters, more powerful units. Anyways, back to what I was saying about a pay-to-win account that I have. I'm very fortunate that obviously 2 things came into play as well. Now, WFS, and I've always said this, is very good at keeping the game relatively free-to-play friendly. And again, for those who haven't been following the channel, I'll explain briefly what I mean by that. By having a system where you can get 4.5s, not need multiple dupes for units, and essentially have a system to side grade older units to ASs or ESs, you free up a lot of Chrono Stones to save for future banners. Now, of course, if you need to beat current content right away and you don't have enough DPS or enough power, sometimes you are forced or want to force yourself into summoning on a recent banner to get the AS or ES form in order to conquer current content. For example, if some people were aiming for AS Miyu over waiting the 3 to 6 months for farming AS Miyu's treatises. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but just understand, of course, that by doing that, you will lose the ability to unlock future units, as I said before, most of which are going to be more powerful than the ones we have right now. And so, the second thing is that since I have been playing since the very beginning, having all the old units getting refreshed either through manifests or through ASs or ESs, it actually frees up a lot of stones for someone like me as a free-to-play as well. And also all of you out there who are free-to-plays. And again, the reason why is because now you do not have to summon on, say, AS Miyunfa's banner if you have Miyunfa. You just have to wait 3 to 6 months, and barring some extremely unlucky RNG, you're going to eventually get the 3 to 5 treatises. You can even buy 2 from Sabira's gems from the Emporium. You're most likely going to have 4 to 5 chance in 3 to 6 months, and you'll eventually have that unit. And that essentially spares you from anywhere from 3 to 5,000 stones, if not more, based on bad luck. And so that's what I mean by WFS is extremely friendly when it comes to free-to-plays. If you've been playing since day one, you'll eventually have had all the units either through sheer luck from spook pulls, or you're essentially going for the unit at one time, and now they've kind of refreshed themselves. So the last example I'll give is when I summoned on update 2.0 for Tsubame normal style. And at the time, she was considered meta. She was extremely powerful. She had a high multiplier. She was used for many, many months. And then, of course, she fell off. But now, just a number of years later, we have the AS Tsubame. And once I get her 4th or 5th treatises, then I'm going to refresh her and have her come back into the lineup as a fresh, new 5-star for me. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.